So let's chat about meta-language. Meta-language is not technique identification, but they are verbs that describe what the author is doing. These are great. They are adverbs that describe tone. They are adjectives to describe the language being used. And they are nouns that describe the words being used. So meta-language is a category in your vocab that we want to be developing throughout the year. But any time, and I'll preface this with our vocab and with our writing, we need our language to be the best or the most effective word for this sentence or for this particular point. I don't care if you only use words that have 4 letters, so long as the meaning is clear, so long as this is the most effective word to be used in this scenario. Okay? That will become clearer as we go along, but don't just chuck in sarcastically when you mean emphatically or vice versa. I want the best word for the scenario or for the idea or topic at hand. Let's talk about evidence versus analysis. So Mario versus Luigi in the ring. Are Mario and Luigi ever separated? No. Aside from, I think Luigi has a game. But I'm a bit out of the Mario Kart world at the minute. Because my cousin, who's younger than me, is beating me, and it's a lot for my ego to take. So Mario and Luigi are never separated. Evidence and analysis are never separated. Anytime we analyze, we need evidence to back it up. Anytime we bring about evidence, we need analysis to break that down. So we need to intertwine Mario and Luigi. They're never separated. They are brothers, as are evidence and analysis. So we need to support what we are saying with evidence, and we need to break down the evidence with analysis. There is a little trick called normalization, which is where we turn a verb into a noun or a noun phrase, which helps us to focus on the analysis rather than the action. So this is a great way to put it. The playwright, if we look at this first sentence, which is not nominalizing, which reads, the playwright depicts Bob walking down the street through the movement of his feet. And we change that to, the playwright's depiction, we can see, we nominalize by adding an ION of Bob walking down the street implies that ... Here we are connecting evidence and analysis. We don't just make a statement about what the author did that, is pretty obvious, but we break down what the author did to draw a conclusion, to evidence our interpretation, to analyze what the author is doing. So this is a skill that we can practice, but we're changing our intent verbs to nouns. So instead of depicts, depiction, portrays, portrayal, suggests, suggestion. The only one I can't work out is highlights. Highlightion. That's not a word. But there are plenty of other verbs for you to use. Instead of the author presents, the author's presentation of. That's how it rolls. Okay? So nominalization forces us to analyze and prevents summarizing and retelling the story. By connecting evidence with analysis, it gives us the opportunity to show the examiner what we actually know and our actual skills of analysis here. Okay, so here are a list of intent verbs for you to use, but we can change it to illustration, elucidation, symbolization, implication, revelation, right? You can do that. But here is also a really good vocab list for you to incorporate in your notes. Screenshot, come back to these slides, but definitely try and keep a vocab list throughout the year. When it comes to analyzing argument and writing your own persuasive piece, we really need to think in terms of modality. So modal verbs are verbs that let us know how certain an action is, how much you need to do it. So the degree of obligation or certainty. So if I were to say to you, we could stop whaling, we could. You'd probably think, okay. But if I said to you, we need to stop whaling, in terms of, I'm hearkening back to like year 7, year 6. I feel like I've definitely done a persuasive piece about why we need to stop whaling. I don't know if I'm a few years out now. Hopefully you share that experience. But instead of we should stop whaling, it's we need to stop whaling. We need to buy this packet of chips, Mum. We need to. We're all out at home. So that highly modal verb of we need versus that low modal verb of we should tells us a lot about how we need, if we need to do something, if we should. If we can't be bothered, I probably wouldn't stop whaling because it's just I should. But we need tells me we absolutely have to do this. That there is a high degree of certainty, obligation, importance here. Okay? So, this is the process of analysis. When I talk about analyzing, this is what I'm looking for. This 3-step process. This breaks it down. Of course, we can get more complex, but this is about as simple as it gets, as clear as it gets, and as effective as it gets. So when our teacher asks us to analyze, when our teacher says you need to do more analysis, you need to draw out this process more with a particular emphasis on the how and the why. So, what language is the author using? Okay, that's simple. What language is the author using? This is our evidence, and this is our explanation of the evidence. The author describing whaling as a problem of the time that we need to fix uses highly modal language to whatever. So it's not just the quote or the evidence, but it's the explanation. And then I actually like to flip it. What is the author doing? Why are they doing it? Why does this support the author's argument? Why do they make this point that we should stop whaling, or we need to stop whaling? Why does it support the author's argument? And then how does it position the audience? Here, with the how and the why, we are drawing out the views and values. What is the author saying about the world around them? Why does it support their argument? What are they saying there? And how does it position the audience? Or how does it leave the audience thinking about what they should do with themselves? Whether it's love, whether it's hate that makes the world go round, okay? So let's break that down a little bit further. The what stage, what is the author doing? Is again that the evidence and the explanation. For instance, to bring about Chris Brown, who I don't know if is relevant for you all, but the author makes use of overtly negative language such as terrible human being to establish Chris Brown in an unfavorable light by describing his actions as brawling, blah, blah, blah. Okay? So that's the what. Then I like to go to the why. As such, or in this way, the author creates a comprehensively negative image of Brown to further the idea that he should not be allowed into Australia. So why does the author write this quote? Or why does the author make this statement? Why does the author do it? And then how does it position the audience? What is the intended effect? What is the connection to the views and the values? Thus, the author invites readers to consider how their support of Brown might endorse his harmful behaviour. So what, how, why? What is the author doing? Why are they doing it? And how does it position the audience? And we can see that for one sentence or one little bit quote from the text, we can break down into minimum 3 sentences. Okay? Now, I've shown you here an example of analyzing argument in what am I trying to say? I've shown you an example of analyzing argument in of the what, how, why in terms of analyzing argument, but we can easily apply it to our text response and our comparative. And in fact, that's actually what I want you to do. So I need to make live a quiz. So this is really putting us to the test, but which analysis follows the what, the how, and the why structure for section A, or for our text response? So have a go. What, how, why structure. So we're looking for a quote or evidence discussion. We're looking for how does that relate, what is the author doing, why are they doing it, and how does it position the audience? So is it the first one? It is in the nuanced references in Walton's letters that Frankenstein is understood as a cautionary tale, as the allusions to Coleridge's poem align both Walton and Frankenstein to the ambitious and hubristic mariner. Warning against Frankenstein's usurpation of both God and woman in the reproductive process, Mary Shelley motions it to be a perversion of the natural order, suggesting that with egotistic ambitions comes detrimental consequences. Fire is a source of light and heat, just as the monster surmised by observing the de Lacy's family, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to put it out there. This is not it, because this is all just explanation of a quote. Okay? Thus, Shelley cautions against narcissistic motivations for the acquirement of knowledge and explores the consequences of the usurpation of God on both the creation and the natural order. This is a great views and values sentence, but it's not a what, how, why structure. So good, no one has said that yet. All right, I'll give it a moment more. But I think you've got it, so I'll press show correct answer. There we go. Most of you got it right. So let's talk about why this one is a better example of a what, how, why structure versus this response here. So warning against Frankenstein's usurpation of both God and woman in the reproductive process. What is the author doing? She motions it to be a perversion of the natural order. Why is she doing it? She's trying to say that this is not right, suggesting that with egotistic ambitions comes detrimental consequences. How does it position the audience, or what is her view and value here? Okay, so what is the author doing it? Why is the author doing it? So what is the author doing? Why are they doing it? And how does it position the audience, or how does it connect to views and values? The ultimate opinion. Here, it is in the nuanced references in Walton's letters. That's a description. As the allusions to Coleridge's poem align both Walton and Frankenstein to the mariner. This is just, what is the author doing? Here, what is the author doing and why are they doing it? It doesn't quite break down for us the relation to the views and values, or that final ultimate sentence that tells us how the audience is left to feel. Okay, hopefully that makes sense.